All right. Let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, B'Hahushai, B'Hashem, Rachak. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is pretty much just a various topics dated June 2nd, 2023. The hopeful year that all of the prophecies of Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, B'Hahushai will be fulfilled. And pretty much, I really don't have anything to go into. Just a few videos I've been watching, some documentaries, a few videos I've been watching this morning. And as I was on my way here, I just had an idea to speak about a video that the elder Manat Zakba out of the South Carolina camp put up, dealing with these former one body individuals that used to be a part of one body. And pretty much, I didn't watch the whole video, so I didn't realize they said if you eat meat, you're going to hell. I didn't even watch that far. But I did watch the part where they said, that Moses went off because he took counsel from a heathen or from Jethro and added to the laws of the Most High, which that's not true. And we're going to get a couple of precepts on that just to clarify that a little bit more. And just to show you what Jethro really said. And then what brought this back to mind through the Spirit was a video I was watching on my way here. The elder Apostle Tahar, he was doing the video, and we know the prophecies because we are the prophets. And pretty much he was speaking on the same topic. So I said, you know what? Let me just start off with that and see where the Spirit leads, because it's a small thing, but then again, it's not a small thing, because it may seem small, but a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. Now, the situation, when you go back in the history, this is after the Lord delivered Israel and Moses by the hand of Moses out of the land of Egypt, and they were in Midian. I believe they were in Midian, and they were speaking, or actually they were officiating business. All of Israel was coming to Moses, and he was pretty much judging Israel. They would come to him with all his problems from the morning to the evening, and Jethro saw that. And after Moses, judged Israel, what Jethro told him was, the thing that you do is not good. You're going to wear yourself out and this people. So pretty much he gave him, a solution to his problem. All right. Now let's see within that solution what he actually said. Right? Because you have these individuals that err not knowing the scriptures. But let's see what he said within that response, and the whole transaction. And I got a couple other precepts to go with it. And like I said, we'll go from there to wherever the Spirit leads us. This is the book of Exodus 18, and I'm going to start at 17. It says, and Moses' father-in-law said unto him, the thing that thou doest is not good. Thou wilt surely wear away both thou and this people that is with thee. For this thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone. So he witnessed it. He saw what he was doing. And like the elder pastor said, Jethro was a clansman or tribesman. He had experience in organizing, men, delegating authority. And how do we know that? The scriptures don't get specific, but just by the suggestion and the counsel that Jethro gave him, he had to have experience with, those particular issues. So it goes on to say, hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and the Most High shall be with thee. It says, be thou for the people to the Most High word, that thou mayest bring the causes unto the Most High, right? And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws. See, because the reason why they were coming to Moses is because he had the laws. So Jethro was telling them, teach the people, teach them laws, build them up. And and shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear the Most High, men of truth. See, so not just anybody you could sit up in those positions. They have to be, able-bodied and pretty much blameless and of good report and able to deal with that particular, office. It says, hating covetousness, and place such over them. Right, so they're not going to be partial. They're not going to be taking bribes. It says to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s and rulers of 10s. Right, because you have different offices. And you have different men that can take on. Some men can only take on so many responsibilities. Other men take on a lot more responsibilities. So as you see the ability of these men, you set them up in their order. Even when we deal with the Apostle Paul, he spoke about, the men that prophesied to prophesy according to the proportion or the portion of the Spirit that was given to them, the portion of faith. So it goes on to say, and let them judge the people at all seasons, and it shall be that every great matter that they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge. Right, so the small matters they judge. Anything that's too hard for them, they bring to you. That way, you free yourself up from the whole burden, delegate authority to these men, and the things that they can't handle, that's out of their reach, they bring it to you, and that way, your burden is lightened. These men help you carry the burden. Right? It says, so shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee. See? So even in the camps, when brothers are in the camps, you have first in command, second in command, third in command, so on and so forth. And it's just because you see the head of the camp doing everything, don't just sit there, take initiation, help him so that he doesn't have to bear the burden alone, That way, he won't wear himself out. Meanwhile, you just sliding and skating in the background. No, get involved, get into it. It says, if thou shalt do this thing, listen good, because this is the main point. This is the main point, right? So he gave him a counsel. He told him what he should do. He told him how it would alleviate problems. He told him how it would help ease the burden from him and from the people. Then he says, if thou shalt do this thing, and the Most High command thee so. So basically, he didn't just tell him, look, Moses, do this, do that, do the other. He gave him counsel, and he said, if you choose to do this, and if the Most High command you to do so, right? It says, commanded to do, command thee so. It says, then thou shalt be able to endure, and all this people shall also go to their place in peace. So Moses hearkened to the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he had said. And Moses chose able men out of all Israel and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s. And they judged the people at all seasons. The hard causes they brought unto Moses, but every small matter they judged themselves. And Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way unto his own land. So pretty much Jethro gave him a suggestion. He gave him a counsel. He said, if you choose to do this thing, and if the Most High command thee so. Now, did the Most High command this? Well, let's find out. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 1. Let's start at verse 9. It says, and I spake unto you at that time, saying, I am not able to bear you myself. So pretty much he's going back to, because the book of Deuteronomy is like the second book of the law. It's a reiteration of the laws that were written prior. So he's going back to this particular time we're reading in Exodus 18. The Lord your power hath multiplied you, and behold, you are this day as the stars of heaven for multitude. The Lord power of your fathers make you 1,000 times so many more as you are, and bless you as he hath promised you. How can I myself alone bear you, bear your cumbrance and your burden and your strife? Take you wise men and understanding and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you. So apparently he went with what Jethro had commanded or counseled him on, and obviously the Most High was with it. Let's read on. Well, it didn't say the Most High was with it. He just said that Moses set it up, so he was going according to his own mind. Well, let's find out. It says, and you answered me and said, the thing which thou hast spoken is good for us to do. So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over 50s, and captains over 10s, and officers among your tribes. It says, and I charged your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother and the stranger that is with him. You shall not respect persons in judgment, but you shall hear the small as well as the great. You shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is what? Of the Most High. The judgment is of the Most High, and the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. Now, you say, well, it didn't say the Most High commanded Moses to do that. Let's go from there. Now let's go back to the book of Numbers, chapter 11 and verse 16. Because you got some slow bellies out there, man. So it says, Numbers 11:16. And the Lord said unto Moses, gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people, and what? And officers over them. So these were the elders that were set up over the Israelites, and the Lord commanded Moses to set these men up. It says, over them, and bring them into the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee. And I will come down and talk with thee. I will come down and talk with thee there, and I will take of the Spirit which is upon thee, and will give it, and will put it upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with thee, that thou bear it not alone. And pretty much, this is the same exact thing that Jethro counseled Moses on. And he said, if you go with this, and if the Lord command thee so. So the Most High has commanded Moses to set up an order. Okay? So Moses did not go off. All right? And even if it wasn't written that the Most High told him to do it, he still didn't go off, because that was all about order. But the point is that the Most High commanded him to do this thing. So as we read on, let's go to the 24th verse. It says, and Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people, and set them round about the tabernacle. And the Lord came down in a cloud. So if this thing was off, the Most High would have smoked those men and Moses, right? And spake unto him, and took of the Spirit that was upon him, upon Moses, and gave it unto the 70 elders. Boom. And he put that Spirit on them. These were the 70 elders that were officers among the people. And that was that was some of the men that were set up and established over the people, to watch over the people, to judge them. It says, and it came to pass that when the Spirit rested upon them, they prophesied and did not cease. All right? So it goes on to say, but there remained 2 of the men in the camp. The name of the one was Eldad, and the name of the other Medad, and the Spirit rested upon them, and they were of them that were written but went not out unto the tabernacle, and they prophesied in the camp. Right, and then this thing displeased, Jake, and they went to Moses, to see what they should do about it. But the point is that the Lord commanded Moses to set up men, to help him to, carry this burden that he was carrying, because he told him, Moses, look, I can't bear all these people. This is too much for me. Did I have the pleasure of having all these people? No. So the counsel that Jethro gave him was a righteous counsel, and he even as Jethro gave him the counsel, he said, look, if you take this counsel and the Most High command you. See? So it wasn't just something that just came out of the air. Men back there weren't rash. They were calculated, they were observant, they were very wise, they were very keen, unlike these clowns out here today, And some of these guys that call themselves Israelites, they try to be super deep, but really they're not deep. They just lack the understanding, they lack the understanding, and that's why they're not able to judge matters correctly. They break scriptures down wrong, and this is why, people hate Great Millstone, because we're constantly correcting, these individuals out here, because they're going off, and this is a part of what we do through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. When we go to 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, right? 2 Timothy chapter 3, and we're going to go straight to the point. But some individuals will not be corrected. I'll start at 12. The point is a little further down. It says, yea, and all that will live godly in Yahushai shall suffer persecution. Right. And that's what happens. When you live God, a man of the Lord by the persecutions that they're going through because of the word. I was watching, whose video was I watching? Earlier, I believe it was. I'm trying to remember what brother I was watching. I can't remember who it was. I watched a few videos this morning. But nevertheless, he quoted a quote by Socrates. He said, when I can't remember the exact quote, but something along the lines, when they can't gainsay your truth, they resort to slanders. If brothers know what I'm talking about, they could post that. And that's what they do. They can't attack the ministry, because Yahushua said, I will give you a mouth with wisdom that none of your adversaries will be able to gainsay nor resist. So what do? They do personal attacks, slanders, false witnesses. And that's why they did that to Yahushua, because they couldn't resist him. It got to the point where they said, man, we ain't asking him no more questions, because every time we ask him a question, he makes it look stupid. Inside joke. It says, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. And that's what's happening with a lot of these individuals. Now, if they would, listen, and if they would consider and pray to the Lord, maybe the Lord would have mercy on them, because that's a form of humility, and they would be able to go back and be able to scrutinize what they're teaching and see that it's wrong, and the Lord could have mercy upon them and bring them into the proper understanding, if they're part of the elect. All right, here we go. Well, his brother just put the... He just put the word for slander. Slander, state of impaired reputation, disgrace or dishonor, a false tale or report spread maliciously, the fabrication and dissemination of false tales. Somebody must have put some bullshit, because I see they got clipped. Unless they deleted it themselves. Oh no, brother clipped them. All right, hey brother, that's why y'all got the roach spray, that hammer. You got the hammer of truth to stomp out the bullshitted lies. Okay, says Socrates, said, when the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the losers. Yep, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful. So I'm going to get back to some of these precepts, but let me read this real quick. Verse 14, but continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them. Why? Because there was going to come a time when they would slander and teach heresies and doctrines that were contrary to the actual gospel. It says, and that from a child thou hast known the holy scriptures, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation through faith which is in Yahushua HaMashiach. Right? Because this is what the scriptures are supposed to do. And when you learn these scriptures, you know, we all are learned in a discipline. We were all disciples, you know, and that's what the word disciple means, discipline. Because at the end of the day, you know, in order to be a good teacher, you have to be a good student, right? So it says, all scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, right? And that's pretty much what, you know, the scriptures are for. You know, so the scriptures are for exhortation, you know, building brothers up, building their faith up. You know, sometimes you have to tear it down. You know, sometimes you have to rebuke, reprove. Sometimes you have to rebuke sharply. Sometimes you might rebuke, but, you know, do it in a way that you're using kid gloves, depending on the individual you're dealing with, you know. But at the end of the day, it's all for correction and for building the church of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai properly. All right. So it says that the man of the Most High may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. Right. So that they can be thoroughly furnished unto all good works, meaning that they can have, you know, everything necessary for perfection. Because the scriptures speak about, we speak wisdom among them that are perfect. And what does it mean by perfect? Meaning perfect in understanding. Right, like the brother said, they attack you and not the message. Yeah. So I want to read this scripture that the brother put up. Jeremiah 9:4. Take ye heed, every man, every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother, for every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders. Right. And that's what they do. You know, they're not attacking the doctrine, they're attacking, they're indirectly attacking the doctrine by attacking the people that teach it with slanders and with lies, because they're hoping that by trying to, you know, destroy a person's reputation, they can sway people away, you know, from following and believing the truth. All right. Let's see. Peter's 2:19. I don't know if that's 1 Peter or 2 Peter. For this is thankworthy if a man for conscience toward the Most High endure grief, suffering wrongfully. That's 1 Peter, I believe. 2 Chronicles 1:10. Give me now wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people. For who can judge this thy people that is so great? Yeah. Right. Romans 3:7. For if the truth of the Most High hath more abounded through my lie unto his glory, why yet am I also judged as a sinner, and not rather as we be slanderously reported, and as some affirm that we say, let us do evil that good may come, whose damnation is just. Yeah, because pretty much, you know, we are teaching the truth, but they're saying that we're teaching lies. But the same way they're slandering us, the gospel is still being spread, you know. So then let it be. If that's the case, if you call us false prophets, but the truth is still prospering, let it keep prospering, you know. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be known, you know, who are the men of the Lord and who are not, you know. So I mean, I really don't have. Or you know what? Let me read this one that the brother put up. These couple here. 1 Peter 3:14. But and if you suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled. Verse 17. For it is better, if the will of the Most High be so, that you suffer for well-doing than for evil-doing. That's right. Matthew 5:10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. That's right. Let's see. And shalom, to all the Akim on the comment board and the Aquaf, the sincere, among everybody. All right, so pretty much I'm gonna leave it there. If the spirit hits me again, to do a lesson afterwards, then I will. I just wanted to say a few words on that, and pretty much that's pretty much it. So with that, Lord's will, you've been edified. To the next time I say shalom.